Hey, it's your boy JJ Domination, and today we are here with the Week 15 NFL predictions. Damn, after this week, there's only 2 regular season weeks left, so potentially you could be seeing your favorite team, unless they're in the playoff hunt, for the last few times of the year. That's pretty depressing, if I'm being honest. We're starting off 1-0 this week. You know what? No more Thursday night blunders, because this was the last Thursday night football game of the season, and I got it right. So I can't be wrong anymore on Thursday night, so the jokes end here. So hopefully we're going to have a good week because of that. Like I said, last week I went 10-6. It seems like every single week I'm destined to go 10-6. It makes no sense. Hopefully we do a little bit better than that this week. But first we're going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks going to Carolina to take on those Panthers, man. I was so dead wrong about the Panthers last week. I thought they'd be playing inspired. They look like they gave up out there. They look like the firing of Ron Rivera discouraged that football team. Now, that could just be a narrative. I'm not really good at reading body language like that, but it really seems like the life is kind of sucked out of them. So with that being said, I will be going with the Seattle Seahawks. However, it is not my lock of the week. So we're going to go ahead and keep it pushing. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Redskins. Let me go ahead and say this about Philadelphia. I wasn't really the most encouraged after they beat the New York Giants, but they better not gloss over Washington. They better take care of business, because Washington... Listen, I know they've been terrible this year, but recently they haven't been too bad. They've won, I think, 2 out of their last 4, which for them is not bad whatsoever. It's actually pretty good for them. They've been running the ball effectively and at a good rate. And Philadelphia's run defense, wishy-washy. I mean, they played good against Saquon. We'll see what they do against Adrian Peterson. The Eagles, they got to be careful. You know, Alshon's out for the year. I think you're getting Nelson Aguilar back. Greg Ward's going to be out there. I mean, they're going to be a banged up team. They're warriors. They're fighting for their lives. I'll go with Philadelphia to win. Must win for them. Got to keep pace with Dallas, and you need to enter that Dallas Cowboy game with some sort of advantage or some sort of momentum, and I think this is the week to do it. Texans at Titans. Man, oh man, as soon as the Texans show you that they can hang with the best of the best in the AFC, they go lay a stinker in their home building against the Denver Broncos. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Titans are one of the hottest teams in the NFL, not named the Baltimore Ravens. It is insane. And they get to play each other 2 times out of the next 3 weeks. So for Tennessee, this is the real test, make or break, because both teams enter in at 8-5. Houston coming off a disappointing loss to the Tennessee Titans. But you know what? I'm going to give Tennessee the win. I think they split the series, so most likely I'll pick Houston to win in Week 17. I think they're going to split the series. I think Tennessee takes it at home. We're going to skip the Bills and Steelers. We're going to come back to it because, as you guys remember, this game was flexed out for the Vikings at Chargers game, which is now being moved to 4 o'clock. So we're going to come back to the Bills-Steelers. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Miami Dolphins versus the New York Giants. It was really fun to see Eli Manning playing football out there last Monday, or this past Monday, I guess you could say. So, really awesome to see that. However, I think I'm going to give the win to the Miami Dolphins. It feels a little weird saying that the Dolphins are going to win. I don't think I've predicted them to win a game this year. So what? You know, there's a first time for everything, I guess. But they've really, already won a few games this year. And the Dolphins, they're one of those teams who they're playing hard, they're invested into this plan with their head coach, and guys are playing hard. And Devontae Parker, who was knocked out of that Jets game, there's a chance he could play against the New York Giants. And also, he just got a contract extension. This is a guy that we were looking at as a bust in the first round, who has really made the most of an opportunity this year. So keep your eye on Devontae Parker if he does play. Broncos at Chiefs. I'll tell you what, man, Denver is not going to be an easy out. My upset of the week was Denver beating the Houston Texans last week, and that was a pretty good call on my part. Gotta give myself a pat on the back. I won't do that, though. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win. Kansas City, they beat New England. Wasn't really a decisive victory, but a victory nonetheless. They were able to come out of there with some sort of optimism, but they're coming in here against Denver, a team that's going to play them tough. I don't expect Kansas City to score 40 points, but if they do, I'll be very impressed. As I always am with the Kansas City Chiefs when they get into these offensive shootouts. But I'm going to be taking Kansas City to win this game. Lock of the week. Patriots beating the Bengals. If they don't, there is a problem. And I was joking around with some friends, I'm not really concerned about the Patriots. That's my big takeaway. Yeah, they didn't beat Kansas City, but really, they did a lot of good things in that game. They didn't beat Houston, but that was just a total train wreck game, in my opinion. Every team's had that this year. And this isn't me making excuses for New England, but they've shown us time and time again, just when you think they're vulnerable, they bite you. They come back and they bite you. And it happens in the playoffs. So my big joke was, well, if the Patriots are down by 10 at halftime to Cincinnati, I'll be worried. Or entering the fourth quarter, I'll be a little worried. But hopefully the lock of the week actually happens. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go ahead and pick Tampa Bay to win this game. Detroit, I'm going to be honest, just from my perspective, it looks like they're packing it in. They're going to be trotting out David Blau. They just put Marvin Jones on IR, the wide receiver. They just put Deshaun Hand, who's been battling injuries all year, second-year player out of Bama at defensive tackle. They just put him on IR. They already announced 2 or 3 offensive linemen out for this game. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this game and going to win by a pretty decent-sized margin. Not my lock of the week, but as you can see, there's a couple of games in here that could be lock of the week worthy. This one was one of them. Bears at Packers, man. My Green Bay Packers. Can they beat the Chicago Bears to inch closer at securing a playoff spot? It's weird because they have 10 wins, and here they are trying to secure a playoff spot and get win number 11. I got to give the Chicago Bears credit. Over the last month, they've been playing their best football offensively. Defensively, mixed bag. They give up a decent amount of points, but situationally, they're a really good defense still. And granted, they have the personnel. No Roquan Smith in this game, no Danny Trevathan, but they are getting Akeem Hicks back for a big-time game. He went on IR earlier this year, and he's designated to come back this week. He's going to be a huge difference maker for them up front, especially against the Packers' rushing game. This feels like a Jamal Williams type of game for Green Bay. I know Aaron Jones is the lead dog, but Jamal against those more physical fronts, I like his chances. Listen, I'm going to be taking my Packers to win. Last home game of the season, you don't want to do what you did last year, and that's leave a sour taste in the fans' mouth. You want to come out here, final home game of the year, playoff implications. Historically, this is the 200th showdown between the two franchises. Green Bay has to come out on top. Jaguars at Raiders. Go ahead and give me those Raiders. This is the final time they'll be playing in the Oakland Coliseum. They're going to kick some ass and take some names. They have not looked great recently, but this is a big-time game for them, and I think they're going to lay it all on the line for the Oakland fans. And right here, we have the Cleveland Browns going to Arizona to take on those Cardinals. This is going to be a fun matchup. Baker Mayfield versus Kyler Murray, the last two Heisman winners, the last two Oklahoma Sooners that suited up for quarterback for Lincoln Riley. And one of these teams have been slumping really bad recently, the Arizona Cardinals. The other, Super Bowl hype, didn't live up to it. Glad I didn't buy into that stock whatsoever. But Cleveland has a huge personnel advantage, so I'll be taking Cleveland to win this game. I haven't picked an upset of the week. I don't really know if I have one in mind yet. So we'll see how this goes. We got a few more games left. Falcons at 49ers. San Francisco, I tell you what, man, this is either going to be the craziest thing I've ever done or the smartest thing I've ever done. But the 49ers have a lot of players going down with injury. The Falcons, they've shown us, late in the year, they just like to win games for whatever reason. So you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb Upset of the week. The Atlanta Falcons beating the San Francisco 49ers. I almost don't want to believe it, but damn it, I'm picking them. The Falcons last year did this to us also. They won like their last 4 games, and they looked really good against Carolina. That's the second time they've beaten them this year. Clean sweep. The 49ers have a ton of injuries. They're coming off of 3 very hard games. One, they just blew out Green Bay. That just wasn't a game. Then they got into a scrap fight with Baltimore. Then they got into a shootout with New Orleans. I think in this game they're thinking, oh yeah, we played 3 of the toughest opponents we'll face all year. We're going to kick back. We're going to do things a little easily. We're going to be a little careless, and the Falcons are just going to somehow run it up. I mean, that's just how it happens. You can't sleep on any team in the NFL. It doesn't matter how bad they are. I know I do locks of the week. Listen, can't sleep on any NFL team. I'm going to be taking the Falcons as my upset. Rams at Cowboys. Dallas. They don't necessarily need to win this game, but it'd be pretty cool if they did. Because if Dallas wins this game and Green Bay beats the Chicago Bears, Green Bay clinches a playoff spot, and damn it, I need that to happen so I could stop stressing about how hard the NFC is. But you know what? When I pick these games, I do it based on the matchup and some momentum and other factors like weather and stuff like that. It's in a dome. It's in Jerry World. We all know the record for Dallas against above 500 football teams. They are winless, and the Rams just so happen to be above 500. And you know what? I think the Rams are going to come in here and take care of business. They have a small chance of hope, and I feel like the Rams are going to do everything they can to ride out this momentum. It's going to be very close at the end of the year to actually see if this team gets into the playoffs. I don't think they will, but damn it, it's getting close. And if I'm the next team that we're going to talk about, the Minnesota Vikings, I'd be a little concerned, because right now we got the Minnesota Vikings going to LA to take on those Chargers. And if you think it's going to be a cakewalk, Minnesota, you might want to ask your NFC North brethren, New England, or not New England. Damn it, I'm tripping over my words because I keep thinking of all these different things. Okay, let's try that again. I'm totally keeping that in the video. So, Minnesota going to LA to take on those Chargers. If you think it's going to be a walk in the park, you might want to ask your NFC North brother, the Green Bay Packers, how that went, because it was not a cakewalk, my friend. Granted, Green Bay is not this physical football team that's going to punch back. They get punched around. That's just kind of their thing. Minnesota, they're tough. They run the football. They have great edge rushers, great linebackers. Their secondary is a little suspect at times, but if you've noticed, last week against Detroit, they were shuffling in Trey Waynes and Holton Hill and Xavier Rhodes. They didn't completely bench Xavier Rhodes, but, you know, they're kind of figuring out the matchups. And listen, Keenan Allen's a beast. That's the one guy you don't want to have get going. And I think Phillip Rivers has something to play for, you know, and last week he definitely showed that. However, I'll be taking the Minnesota Vikings. I can't talk myself into picking the Chargers. I just can't. And with the Sunday Night Football game, we got the Buffalo Bills versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. In Steeler country right here. Buffalo getting on national TV, man. You can't disappoint. Buffalo has an opportunity to lock up a playoff spot. For Pittsburgh, if they lose, it's looking a little interesting, because all of a sudden, if like Tennessee wins, which I predicted Tennessee to do, if I remember correctly, there you go, then Tennessee has the 6th seed. So for Pittsburgh, you're still, every single week, you're going to be fighting for your playoff lives. Mike Tomlin has overachieved with this roster with all the injuries. He's had 4 different quarterbacks, you know, on the roster. Actually 5 if you want to include Paxton Lynch, who, you know, I guess. But, you know, Pittsburgh and everything they've had to overcome. They got Minkah Fitzpatrick in a trade when they were 0-3 and their pick was projected to be the 5th overall pick. Everyone laughed at them. And Pittsburgh has done nothing but win, and do it with defense. And here we are. They're going to be facing Buffalo, who has been winning with defense. Josh Allen did not play well last week against Baltimore, but outside of that game, he's been pretty damn good over the last 5 weeks, I guess we could say. Pittsburgh's defense is not going to be an easy task, but I don't see how Devlin Hodges and company are going to move the ball on the Bills. So I'm going to have to give that win to Buffalo. And then right here, Colts at Saints. I don't think T.Y. Hilton's coming back for Brissett. The Saints, their defense is definitely concerning. It has nothing to do with the 49er game. That was a shootout for both sides. But like they gave up 31 to Carolina. They gave up over 25, 26-ish to Atlanta. Like their defense really isn't playing as well as it was at the beginning of the season or in the first half of the season. The second half they've cooled down, but I don't think the Colts are explosive enough to really move the ball down the field. And it's something about Drew Brees in these night games. He is very, very good, and he's 3 touchdowns away from breaking Peyton Manning's record for all-time passing touchdowns. I think he's going to throw at least 4 touchdowns against the Colts. Bold prediction. So here we go. I have all my predictions right here. My lock of the week, wherever it's at, is going to be the Patriots beating the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, my upset. Call me crazy. I am crazy. That's why I go out on a limb every week with these upsets. Falcons beating the 49ers. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, man. Peace out. If you're at a Christmas party like I am Saturday and you're recording a video on Friday to put up on Saturday like me, stay blessed out there, because this is what I'm having to do. I'm going to be a very busy man Saturday. This video will be going up early, so happy, merry pre-Christmas present. I don't know. Peace out.